Since 2015, PopHealth Podcast has brought to you some of the best minds in healthcare, including leaders from government, not-for-profit, and investor-backed powerhouses, as they share successes, failures, and how our audience can move forward in today's constantly evolving healthcare world. Thank you for joining us for today's episode presented by 24 Hour Home Care.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of PopHealth Podcast. I'm Gavin Ward, host of PopHealth Podcast. In today's episode, I had the opportunity to sit down with returning guest and Medi-Cal guru, Lisa Ramsey from Medi-Cal Consulting Services. Lisa has a wealth of knowledge and expertise when it comes to Medi-Cal eligibility and just the whole navigation through eligibility, redetermination, things like that. And candidly, her episode a couple of years ago, or about a year and a half ago, was one of the most watched and viewed. And it just showed me that, hey, like our audience really has a hunger for this information. So I invited her back. And we to learn what's new in 2025 when it comes to Medi-Cal eligibility, how Lisa can help individuals out there and how her team can help, and all the great resources there are just in general that she's able to share. So we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Feel free to check out other episodes of PopHealth Podcast by visiting us on our website, pophealthpodcast.com, checking us out on our YouTube channel, or visiting us wherever you listen to your shows. Thanks, everybody. Lisa, thanks so much for joining the show today. Good to see you again.
Great. Thanks, Gavin. Good being here.
Yeah, so folks, if you don't know, Lisa is a returning guest for one of our, if not the most popular topic, which is Medi-Cal and Medi-Cal eligibility. I shared in the past, Lisa is the only Medi-Cal guru that I know. And I didn't interact much with Lisa when I first met her because the world I was in wasn't Medi-Cal, but I still remembered her and I've seen her out and about, and she just appeared to be a pillar in the community. And sure enough, she is. So we really appreciate you coming back, Lisa. I know we'll jump into Medi-Cal, your business, Medi-Cal eligibility, but before doing that, we want to get to know another fun fact about you. So can you share with us something that would surprise the audience, something fun about you?
Well, let's see. I know last time when we spoke, I shared with you that I had 4 grandchildren, but what I didn't tell you is that 2 of those grandchildren, my first 2, Emmeline and Jocelyn, are extremely special needs. They both have feeding tubes. They're in a wheelchair. They can get and do a little walking, but for the most part, they're in their wheelchair when they're transported and what have you through the day to back and forth to school and their activities and what have you. But they have a very rare genetic disorder. It's called Joubert.
Okay.
Joubert syndrome is a rare disorder, and they both have that. They also both have an intestinal disease called Hirschsprung disease.
Okay.
The oldest granddaughter, Emmeline, also has cerebral palsy due to the childbirth that she experienced, unfortunately. But that's something that a lot of people probably wouldn't guess if they needed to guess something about me.
Yeah.
And they're the most amazing little angels in my life.
And what do they refer to you? Do they call you grandma?
They're nonverbal.
Nonverbal. Okay.
Yeah, they're in wheelchairs. They have feeding tubes. Emmeline also has a ostomy bag, and yeah, they have a lot going on. They're special little girls. So it's something someone wouldn't know about me unless they actually really knew me.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing, and I'm sure they're fortunate to have you in their life. You could probably help the family navigate circumstances, I'm sure, and make sure.
Yeah, my daughter has become quite the advocate. I'm really impressed with her. Melissa's doing just an amazing job advocating for her 2 little girls and getting them the help that they need. California is an amazing state when it comes to special needs and the services that are available to those who are struggling and need help. So if you know someone who's struggling, needs help, whether you're a young child or an elderly person, there is a lot of help here in the state of California, more than probably any other state out there, honestly. And we're very giving here.
Yeah, great points. I'm guessing they're plugged into the regional center system as part of their support.
Absolutely. Yep.
So that's one piece.
California Children's Services, IHSS, all of the above.
Yeah. And I know we might get into some of this a little bit more as we get to know about your business and your work in the Medi-Cal world.
Yeah. Their daddy was in the military. He was a Marine. He served 2 tours in Afghanistan, and unfortunately, these wars are hard on people, and he ended up taking his life
Oh
just a
man.
few years ago. So it's been hard. It's been really hard on the family, and we just try to do our best and get through it.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry to hear all that, but again, I'm glad that they have you in their life. And it sounds like your daughter knows a lot as well now, but I'm sure you helped.
Yeah, she's very smart, very intelligent young lady, that's for sure.
Awesome. Well, that's good. So in the previous episode, we got to know a little bit about how you ended up, becoming a Medi-Cal guru. I know you may not call yourself that, but I will. Um, so I think part of that was being working in-home support services, correct? My curriculum.
No, actually, I just by chance got a job with the county, started with Orange County,
That's what it was.
and they hired me into the Medi-Cal department. And my career started there. I had no idea that it would end up where I am today. And it's just been an amazing journey.
Awesome. So Medi-Cal Consulting Services is the name of your organization.
I founded it in 2003.
Yep.
So it's been a little over 20 years. I've been helping people with Medi-Cal for over 30. As a former Medi-Cal eligibility worker in 2 separate counties, I've got the experience, the know-how, the knowledge, and the contacts to find out whatever it is you need to know.
Yeah. So let's jump into Medi-Cal. So can you just help remind the audience in maybe like 30 seconds, what is Medi-Cal?
So Medi-Cal is California's version of Medicaid. Medicaid is the federal healthcare plan. It's a welfare program, basically, and it's a federally mandated program. Each state gets, say, a bucket of money to deliver their Medicaid program, and every state does their rules differently. So as you go state from state, you have to reapply in each state. But here in California, our version is called Medi-Cal. Like, for example, in Arizona, it's called All-Tex. And each state, like I said, has a little bit of a different, some are a lot different. There's no other state like Medi-Cal in California. There's no other state that has their Medicaid program like we do here in the state of California. It's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah. So let's jump into that. Before doing so, I think I saw a stat recently, like about 1 out of 3 Californians approximately are on Medi-Cal. Don't quote me on it. I'm just saying what I've read recently. I can't quote the source, so forgive me. And also,
with the way that they changed the rules just last year, January 1st, 2024, Medi-Cal has opened up to where everyone here in the state of California, if you're 65 or older, or you're on Medicare at any age, you are eligible to Medi-Cal, period.
So regardless of income or assets, or
regardless of income, assets, immigration status, you are eligible to Medi-Cal.
Wow. And that was effective last. So I remember in our first episode, that was like one of the hot things you were touching on, was that rollout. So how has that impacted enrollment at all? Have you heard any stories about how that has caused any?
Well, the Medi-Cal offices were already overwhelmed as it is before that even rolled out. I mean, I think, they're having a difficult time keeping their workers accountable. There's so many of them still working from home. I hear that's changing, which I think is really good.
Are these Medi-Cal offices, is it under a certain department that changes names in each county, or is it called the Medi-Cal enrollment office? Like, what are these offices called?
Well, Department of Public Social Services. You can, they don't call Medi-Cal offices because it's the Department of Public Social Services. And under that, they have Medi-Cal, they have the food stamp program, which is CalFresh, the welfare CalWorks program for, used to be AFDC, Aid to Families Dependent Children, which I'm dating myself now. But they have, they have General Relief. They have a lot of other welfare programs there at the office, Department of Public Social Services. So every county has their own, department, and then within the county, within the cities within the county, and sometimes within each city, they have multiple offices. So it's all dependent on your zip code to which office, you may get assigned to work.
Okay. Sounds good. So the general rule in California is if someone thinks they're going to be eligible for Medi-Cal, or can be, which is a lot of people, they have the option to find their Department of DPSS office. And there's pros and cons to that. So how do you help individuals find out if they're eligible or go through the process?
Yeah, great question, Gavin. So my office provides a lot of free services. And one of the services we provide is we provide a free assessment, first of all, through our website, medihelper.com. It's one word, Medi, M-E-D-I, and then the word helper. And through medihelper.com, if you go to the home page in the top right-hand corner, you'll see a big button that says free Medi-Cal assessment. That's your first step to getting some help in understanding what your journey is going to look like. So complete that free assessment. And once you've gone through that, you're going to come to our booking page, which will allow you to book an appointment. Typically, that's going to be with me, and you will go over your assessment. You'll get a free consultation. That's our other free service.
Okay.
And it's not just a quick, here you go. Yep, you qualify. Nope, you don't. See you later. Thank you. Goodbye. It's not like that at all. We spend time together on the phone from, maybe 10 minutes to 20 minutes to sometimes 30 or 40 minutes with each caller. And we'll go over with them their situation. The time we spend is really dependent upon the caller, to be honest with you. How many questions do they have, And so, we prepare them for that conversation. We do a preliminary consultation. One of my staff reaches out to them before the call to gather the necessary information to make sure the call is going to be substantial and valuable for them. If we have certain information, we can make it more valuable to them as well. So we can explain more things that relates to their situation. And so through that consultation that we do with you, we'll go over your situation in specifics, and we'll talk about what's going on, maybe what you're trying to achieve, what your expectations are, and I'll let you know if that's something that's maybe potentially attainable. Can help you understand the path that you need to take, maybe to get to that and achieve what it is you're trying to do for yourself or your loved one who's needing help.
Okay, cool. So in California, there's a lot of Spanish speakers. So if someone speaks Spanish,
there's a lot of speakers of all different countries, honestly.
that's a great point. So I know you, forgive me, I didn't ask you this or know this about you, but like, let's say someone is a Spanish speaker. Do you have anybody on your staff that can help? Or
Oh my gosh, yes, probably close to half of my staff speak Spanish.
Okay, got it. And forgive me, I should have maybe asked you if you spoke Spanish too, but I know that was it's top of mind because I just came from a meeting. I work in the Medi-Cal space, I guess you can say. And so we're looking at some demographic information. So that was top of mind for me.
Yeah.
So you help people understand the process. Now, what are like some examples of why people would go to you instead of just going to like DPSS and trying to just apply through there?
Well, let me give you an example.
Sure.
If you were to be audited by the IRS, would you walk down to the IRS office with your box of receipts and your tax filings and say, "Hey, what's up? How can I help?" Or would you look for someone who maybe used to work for the IRS to help represent you, make sure you're being treated fairly, make sure they're following all the guidelines, and you're taking advantage of all the loopholes that are available?
Probably the latter. So what
It's really sad.
So what are some of the common reasons people might be denied where the reality is they're not denied or they shouldn't be denied?
Well, a lot of people get denied due to income. Okay. And if you're 65 or older or on Medicare at any age, there are no income limits. So you help me understand, how can someone be denied for income when there's no income limits?
Got it. Okay. That makes sense.
That's one of the biggest problems we have.
And you mentioned it, was it in 2024? That was when the income limit went away, or am I
No, the asset limits went away in 2024. There never were income limits. They have income thresholds, in which I call it, the Medi-Cal calls it a maintenance need. Okay. So they have these different maintenance needs according to the particular program you're being assessed under. And those maintenance needs are different depending on your circumstances. And, like I said, there's many of them. There's no one number. What's the number this year? Sometimes someone will ask me, so what's that income number this year? It depends on the person, It depends on what program they're going to be assessed under.
Got it. So how about share of cost? Because I know like people, I don't know if it's assets or income, like they can get Medi-Cal.
Income. Yeah, income is what's used to determine share of cost. So here at Medi-Cal Consulting Services, one of the things that we're known for is we are share of cost strategists.
Okay.
And what that means is we can strategize with you and help you obtain that zero share of cost you need. Because some programs, some of the benefits require you have a zero share cost.
Yeah.
So if you cannot obtain a zero share cost, then you most likely are not going to get the help you need, But so you really need to know someone that knows what they're doing. Okay. And that's one of the benefits of working with us is you have the expertise of someone who worked at the Medi-Cal office, we've got an amazing team here of very knowledgeable people to help our clients get through that process and obtain that zero share cost that they need, they require to get that help.
Okay. So what can you maybe like in layman's terms for people who've heard the term but don't really know what that means? What is like, if I have a $200 share of cost each month, what does that mean?
Yeah. Well, it's not typically 200. It's typically like maybe 2,000 or 1,200 or something like that. So let's say you have $1,000 share of costs.
Sure.
And you want to take advantage of, let's say, IHSS, in-home support services. And you apply for IHSS and they tell you, okay, you're going to get 100 hours. So you do. So typically an IHSS worker, I'm just going to use an average, say gets paid about $18 an hour. Okay. Times 100 hours, that's $1,800. Well, since you have $1,000 share cost, Medi-Cal is only going to pay that caregiver $800 because you, as the recipient, are going to have to pay that first $1,000 every month. So we work with people and we help them eliminate that share cost and be able to get a zero share cost, which is also known as full scope Medi-Cal. Okay. I refer to it as the golden ticket. You remember Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? Oh, yeah. Everybody wanted that golden ticket. That's what I refer to as a zero share cost Medi-Cal because it is an amazing ability to have to be able to get that zero share cost and use Medi-Cal fully. They call it full scope Medi-Cal.
Got it. So with that, the share of cost is what could also be considered like a deductible, like an out-of-pocket deductible?
The share cost is like a deductible. You pay that first and then Medi-Cal pays the rest, no matter what it is. There's no limit to how much Medi-Cal would pay. And that's why Medi-Cal is the most expensive welfare program there is in the state because there's no limits to it.
Got it. Wow. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of like misinformation about Medi-Cal, right?
Oh my gosh.
You touched on it already about like the asset component. What are some other, misinformation or myths about Medi-Cal that like a layperson would think is true?
Well, there's a number of them I hear quite frequently. First of all, I make too much money, which we've just talked about, and obviously you can't. Also, people still don't understand that the asset limits have been eliminated, so they think they have too much money. Some other big ones are people will say that, Medi-Cal, if I apply for Medi-Cal and I'm approved, Medi-Cal is going to come take my home, which is not true. What they're referring to is a state recovery. Okay. Now, on my YouTube channel, where you can find these lovely podcasts of Gavin and I, we have other videos there as well. And we have an 18-minute and 3-second video that I recommend that anybody's going to do a consultation with me. They watch that one first, and I go through so much information. I mean, it'll blow your mind. But Senate Bill 833 came out in November of 2017, and it says that as long as your estate does not go into probate when you pass away, you won't be subject to a lien. So no probate, no lien. And that's the way to get around ever having to worry about having to pay Medi-Cal back. Now, a lot of states don't even participate in the estate recovery program, Gavin. And the ones that do, and especially even California, they're talking about, kind of phasing that out. They're also phasing out the 30-month look-back period. The 30-month look-back period, 2.5 years.
Yeah.
We have a look-back period when you go to apply. Medi-Cal looks back to see if you've given away, traded, transferred, sold, cashed out, assets that you could have used to pay for your care that used to disqualify you. Well, Medi-Cal is phasing that out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So they are phasing it out, or they're considering
they
it?
are.
Okay.
They are phasing that out.
Okay.
And the estate recovery program, they're talking about phasing that out as well. That has not. They're also talking about, and they almost passed a bill, but it didn't get passed. They're talking about increasing the maintenance need, the income thresholds I spoke about originally in our call right now. And so the maintenance needs are talking about increasing them, which they should. It's been over 50 years
Wow.
since they've increased some of them. So
Wow. You say
those need to be
55,
revisited and, brought up to date, so to speak.
15 years or 50?
50, over 50. Yeah.
50.
I think Medi-Cal came out in either 65, 66 or something.
Wow.
And they haven't changed since then, some of them.
That is a long
Yeah.
time. Okay. So
So,
let's jump back into like the Medi-Cal enrollment process that they could do with DPSS on their own. It's possible to get done, but it
yeah,
could be
you can
difficult.
go down to your DPSS office and wait in line and deal with that and apply in person. Again, you've got to realize you're, not going to get a whole lot of help, unfortunately.
So
You can call down to the office and apply over the phone. You can do it online. You can fax in an application. I mean, there's a number of ways in which you can apply, but of course, I always recommend that you do our free assessment. If you are going to do it on your own, you can still do our free assessment and get a free consultation. So at least we can gear you up and be prepared before you get thrown into the lion's den there.
so let's say someone does give that a shot on their own. Ideally, like what is the process? Like if everything works out, like how long does it take someone to make that official application to then be approved? Like what's the time frame that would?
Well, Medi-Cal is mandated to process an application in 45 days. Okay, that's the regulations. But you got to understand that processing means approval or denial. So if they deny your application, they've processed it, but you didn't really achieve much. And so at that point, you've got two options. You can reapply, or you can file an appeal and get a second chance at that application. But again, they deny applications erroneously all the time.
Got it. And then the applications are actually, to your knowledge, are actually reviewed by like a human being. It's not just like an automated review process, correct?
I want to hope they haven't changed that. But sometimes I wonder, because why are these applications getting denied for over income?
Yeah. Okay, so if we decide, like I say we, like let's say I'm applying for Medi-Cal or for a family member, and we're like, okay, let's talk to Lisa. We do this consultation. So you are able to help people navigate and overcome potentially getting denied as best as you can. Obviously, you probably can't guarantee anything.
Oh, no, we do guarantee. I guarantee 100% in writing that if I take on your case, I'm going to make it happen. And I'm honestly, I think I'm the only service out there that does that. We put 100% guarantee in writing, and we provide you with ongoing case management support. And I can go over that with you in a little bit. But yes, we do guarantee our work.
Okay, so
if I take your case on, I'm going to make it happen.
Okay, so the consultation that you do with the individuals help you determine, okay, we can take this on or not.
Their eligibility, yeah. It helps us determine a lot of things, honestly. It helps us understand what their situation is, so I can help them understand how their circumstances relate to Medi-Cal, what to be prepared for, what programs maybe they need to ask for, what type of share of cost can they expect, so that if they do it on their own, then they'll know what the potential outcome should be. So if it comes back and it's different, then they know that Medi-Cal probably made an error.
Gotcha. Okay. So you help them get approved. They're approved. Yay. You mentioned this ongoing case management support. What do you mean?
Yeah. So our ongoing case management support starts from the day that you hire us, and it goes all the way until the annual redetermination is due. Medi-Cal requires that you reapply once a year. So if you start an application, let's say this month, then next year in this month, you'll have to reapply. Okay. So our ongoing case management support provides you that coverage throughout that time period. And what we do is we help you understand, first of all, patient rights, which are huge. Everyone needs to understand their rights as a patient. If you're in a hospital, you're a patient. If you're in a nursing home, you're a resident. So you have resident rights, patient rights, or if you're in assisted living, you're also a resident. It's important you understand the rights that you're apply to you in your circumstances so that you can advocate for yourself, for your loved one. Because if you don't know your rights, there's a good chance they're going to be disregarded. And so we help people understand what their rights are. In addition to that, we help them understand all these amazing programs that Medi-Cal has to offer, whether it's the PACE program, program for the all-inclusive care for the elderly. And remember with that PACE, that's an amazing program. Or maybe the IHSS and home support services we talked about briefly, as well as the assisted living waiver program. And then, the enhanced care management, as well as CBAS. There's so many programs out there, and people don't know where to go to tap into those. And that's one of the reasons why, Gavin, we started that YouTube channel, to give people a place to go, without the pressure, watch the videos as you can, as you have time. And then you'll understand what's out there. And then with our help, we can help you understand how to tap into them, how to get those resources, how to apply, how to get approved, how to get them in place, what's available, how do they work, how are their services delivered. There's so much to know. And unfortunately, Gavin, there's no help at the Medi-Cal office when it comes to this. They are eligibility workers. They only help you understand if you're eligible or not. There's no such thing as a benefits service counselor, anything like that. There is no such thing. So we kind of fill that gap, and we help people understand about these amazing, because they are a pretty amazing program out there. Yeah. And Gavin, your company provides one of those amazing programs, with the care you guys provide through that program that you do.
Yeah,
so make sure if you would say a few words about that.
No, I'm not going to promote my day job, but thank you, Lisa. One thing I want to be transparent with our guests about is, while Medi-Cal is free and you can apply for free, and Lisa does a lot of free services, she does have to pay the bills, right? You do have to pay your staff. So I just want to be transparent.
Yeah, I've got a dozen staff here. They're amazing. And I got to pay them.
Yeah. So let's
as much as they love me, they don't want to work for free.
Yeah. So while you do help offer some free navigation and give people some good education that they should definitely, consider partaking in, if you're going to take it further and handhold them, and your staff is going to get more involved in their case, there's going to be a fee that you'll talk about in that assessment too, correct?
Absolutely. So during the consultation, once we have an idea of what your situation is and what services you need at that point, then we can determine what your fee would be if you decided you wanted to retain our services. So our fees vary depending on how complex your situation is and what services you need. So once we've had that consultation, we'll be able to help you understand what that would be. We put everything in writing. We're very transparent. And that comes with our 100% guarantee and that ongoing case management support. So we only charge a fee, Gavin, when they want us to actually be involved, become their authorized representative, and be their voice. But if they just have questions, they would like some guidance, and then we don't charge anything for that. That's what our free phone consultation is for.
That's good. And I like that you mentioned, I didn't realize, but it makes sense, the phrase authorized representative. So folks, and Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, by you on paper being someone's authorized, or your staff being an authorized representative, Medi-Cal now has the ability to actually talk to you, or the health plans, Medi-Cal, they have to now talk to you on behalf of the family because you are officially their representative. Is that my understanding correctly, or did I get that off?
Right. So we're your authorized representative for purposes of the Medi-Cal office and handling the Medi-Cal eligibility.
Okay.
If we have to do an administrative hearing, or just deal with the Medi-Cal workers, whichever it happens to be, we're able to handle that in its entirety.
That's nice. So you're taking that responsibility on, and which could be very stressful. And it's all making sense to me. I've known you for a while, but that makes sense. Okay, cool. So there's lots of things we could talk about, but let's talk about how people get connected with you as we get towards the close of your show and of our show. Folks are interested. What do they do? You mentioned MediHelper.com. That's where they go?
The best way really is to go to our website, MediHelper.com, MEDIHELPER.com, MediHelper.com. On the home page in the top right-hand corner, you'll see that free Medi-Cal assessment. Complete that and sign up for a free phone consultation. We'll help you understand how Medi-Cal relates to your circumstances and get you on the right track. So check out our YouTube channel. It's got some great videos there. We'll have this podcast as well as the one Gavin and I previously did. But there's a lot of things going on with Medi-Cal, Gavin. And one thing I wanted to share with you was what was new this year for 2025. One of the new changes that has occurred is Medi-Cal has initiated what they call the Part A buy-in. That's brand new, starting January 1st, 2025. Medi-Cal has had the Part B buy-in for some time, and that's where Medi-Cal pays your Part B premium for you. Typically, it comes out of your Social Security check. This year, it's $185.
This is Medicare Part B that's being paid.
Medicare Part B, Okay. And so typically, they take that right out of your Social Security check if you're entitled to Medicare, and that pays for your Part B. If you're entitled, you've worked enough quarters, you've got your quarters in through the system, you're entitled to the Medicare, then typically Part A is free. Now, there's at times, if you sign up late, when you don't sign up in time, when you first become eligible, you have a time frame in which you need to sign up, and then you don't follow those guidelines, then you could be penalized the rest of your life, And so it's same thing with Part B. Now, additionally, with Part A, is that you may not have worked enough quarters to be able to get Part A for free, and so you might have to pay a fee, a premium. And so for those individuals, that is the situation. Medi-Cal has the new Part A buy-in, and that's where Medi-Cal will not only pay your Part B buy-in or your Part B premium, but it now will pay your Part A as well.
Wow.
So, so if you have questions, if anybody has questions about the Medicare, the buy-in, and how that works, here at Medi-Cal Consulting Services, we've got a lot of great expertise. We can help you understand and understand, how those relate to you.
That's awesome. Anything else that's new? And I should have asked you towards the beginning about what's new. Anything else people should know that's changed or been brought in this year?
Well, the thing that's ongoing, it was new last year, was the elimination of assets. And so that's still going on this year in 2025. There's also been some changes just recently, just a couple days ago, April 14th. Not Medi-Cal, the state has made some, well, I don't know, it's not even the state, it's federal government, has made some changes with the Social Security office. And they're actually doing some cuts. Cut the staff by 12%, which means they're going to be closing about 40 offices here in California. We have 1,200 offices, so keep that in mind when you say, oh, you're closing 40 offices, but we have 1,200.
Oh,
so,
wow.
They're determining which ones may not be needed. And so those are what's happening right now with Social Security. There hasn't been any impacts on Medicare at this time or Medi-Cal. But back to Social Security, they are changing things up a little bit in regards to how to connect with them. In applying for the benefits, you can still apply on the phone. If you want to change your address, your payment information, they're going to change that to where you need to do it online. And just some of the changes that are coming forth and trying to, strengthen our public assistance programs and make them better and more efficient. We just try to help people administer the laws and how they impact them personally.
Yeah.
We're the messenger. The state of California comes up with a law. We just interpret it and we help people understand how that applies to them and get them the benefits that they need, for sure. I mean,
well, that is a lot of things are happening. We appreciate the updates, Lisa. Again, folks, Lisa and her company definitely can assist you.
We stay really in tune with what's going on at the state. As an advocate, I'm involved in a lot of advocacy groups, conferences and things like that with the state officials, the administrative law judges, the county appeals workers, and those kind of things. We connect through quarterly meetings, annual conferences, and things like that. So, we're a good resource to reach out and find out what's going on and just find out how the rules currently apply to you. So give us a call, let us do a free assessment for you and help you understand what help is available. Don't suffer. Get some help.
Thanks, Lisa. Well, again, appreciate the education to our audience today and just being a great resource. Have a great day, Lisa.
You too, Gavin. Thanks again.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of PopHealth Podcast.